morning and welcome. The Patriot Radio News Hour live on this Hump Day Wednesday. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group. Happy Wednesday. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. That is the number to call to get yourself some wealth insurance. New highs for the year on gold this morning. All kinds of things coming out and going on, and we're going to bring you up to speed. But before we do, make sure you make this part of your daily routine, allamericangold.com. You get all the news, the articles. We update it Monday through Friday every week. You know, over 100 articles and videos a week, or right close to it, every single week, day in, day out. Make it part of your favorites, allamericangold.com. And we got gold up $21, $13.62 and change. Silver, it's up 25 cents, $16.85. And we've got the bombs getting ready to fly in Syria. We had bombs flying over Saudi Arabia today. Conflicting reports, especially early today, if a bomb actually went off in the capital. And unconfirmed, there was several explosions in Riyadh today. I don't know if they were shooting them down or what was happening. Also, the Yemen rebels, which really is the Iranian-backed rebels in Yemen, claiming to have fired upon oil fields owned by Saudi Aramco. So we'll talk all about that. President Trump out this morning tweeting that bombs are getting ready to fall in in Syria in response to the chemical attacks. We also had data out today. We had CPI data out today. And I tell everybody, and I try to, I want you to be educated. I want you to be informed. Right? If you don't want to prepare, that's on you. Okay, that's on you. I can't force you to call. I can't force you to take care of what you already know is coming. All I can do is educate. And I always tell you, I've got a handful of people. They're my favorite, right? These are the guys I trust the most. Guys like Stanley Druckenmiller, right? And I talk about him all. Charles Bitterman from Trim Tabs, I talk about him a lot. Jeffrey Gundlach, he is the new bond king of the world. If anybody knows what's happening in the debt markets, it's that guy. And why do I like these guys? Why are they guys that I trust? They're not homers, right? You got homers. You got the gold and silver homers. You've got the stock homers, right? It doesn't matter, right? The stock homers, buy the dip every time, right? It's great, it's wonderful, pay no attention, right? Everything's wonderful, it'll be fine, right? You got those guys. Then you got the gold and silver homers. Gold's going to 5,000, silver's going to 100, and they just say it every day. Not what these guys do. Matter of fact, a lot of the time, they don't even talk about gold. Right? They're more focused in on what the debt markets are doing. But a major announcement was made today by Double Line, which is the hedge fund that Jeffrey Gundlach owns. They're one of the largest in the world. The guy is one of the most respected people on Wall Street. And he's pointing, and I'll have Ramon, we'll get this up on our website for tomorrow, but it's something I've never seen him do it. And I'll say this, I'm not surprised, but somebody's actually taken the time and done the research. He has updated all of his customers with a new price on where gold is headed. And just so you know, to put it in perspective, here's a guy who handles over $100 billion. Okay, so this is not some little obscure hedge fund that nobody's ever heard of. Talking about where the dollar is going, talking about where gold is going, and laying out, this is my price, this is my prediction of where the gold market and the dollar are going to be in the next 4 to 5 year time period. So you think about, then that's right now. And what I mean by that is over the next 4 to 5 years, gold's going to start here and end up here. The dollar's going to start here and end up there. You're not going to want to miss it. Patriot Radio News Hour. We're going to be right back after the break. 800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number. Gold touching new highs right now, 1363 new highs for the year. We are in, we're in that zone. And the zone that I'm talking about is, we've now hit a new high for the year. We're a couple of dollars away from multi-year highs. And then we start, once we get to 1400, we start to get into the path of least resistance. But here's what Gunlatch did, and it was so simple. And see, and this is why when I talk about people that I like, it's simple. Forget about BS. He doesn't talk about Syria. He doesn't talk about trade wars. He doesn't talk about oil prices. It's just noise. The first thing he laid out was a chart going back to the 70s of the U.S. dollar. And, of course, I've been telling you and trying to explain to you what's really happened since we went off the gold standard. What we've done is accelerated the decline of the dollar, and up until 2 years ago, we essentially have been living in a huge debt bubble where they've just essentially done nothing but lower rates since 1980. And now we've got a different phenomenon at work. But his dollar chart shows the dollar rallying from essentially, let's call it, 1979. It rallies for 5 years. And somewhere in the 130, 140 range. And you're like, what does that mean, 130, 140? That was the dollar index, if you will. An example, I'll tell you today where the dollar index is today. Right now, the dollar index is at 89.44. Okay, so it got up in the early 1980s around 140, 130, 140. It declined from there for 10 years. And it went down, somewhere in the low mid-90s. Then it went up for 7 years. And it got to 110. And that was in the early 2000s. Then it went down for 9.5 years, when it got down into the 70s. Right? And that took us right into the gold top. Right? So that brought us up to, that 2013, 20 gold topped 2011, and the dollar started rallying around 2010. It rallied for 5.5 years. And now he says we're on the new downtrend. And he just simply says, look we've got a very clear pattern. The dollar rallies somewhere between 5 and 7 years and then declines for 10 years. And every one of these, we hit lower highs and lower lows. In other words, the dollar never gets back to where it used to be. Right? So we had somewhere around 130 or 140. Then we had a high somewhere just above 110 to 115. Then we had a high of about 102. We had a low of about 90. Then we had a low and maybe 90 to 88. Then we had a low in the low 70s. And now we're getting ready to go to another low. Right? Somewhere maybe around 60. Right? And that's pretty simple. 5 to 7 year uptrend, 10-year downtrend. Well, 9 to 10 years. Then you put it into where gold is. And according to his research, gold has hit, and I'll just quote it directly, gold is negatively correlated to the dollar, right? We know this. Why do you own gold? You own it as a hedge. That's what it is. What does it hedge? The value of your dollar. Right? And guess what? It does it really well. Right? If you had a $20 gold piece in 1920, and you got a $20 gold piece today, right? And you had a $20 bill in 1920 and a $20 bill today, right? Think about it. $20. What about what about you a cow, right? What about you a heifer, right? That $20 gold piece. What about you the heifer? The $20 bill. What about you the heifer in 1920? Today, that $20 bill, doesn't even get you a pound of filet. Forget about the whole cow. You got that $20 gold piece still. You got 1,400 bones, right? You can still get the cow. This is what gold does. That's why he says, hey, it's negatively correlated against the dollar. We see that gold broke above its downtrend line. What downtrend was he talking about? Well, if you go back up to his little gold chart, his dollar chart, right? For 5 years, gold fell. From 2011 to, 2015, gold fell. Coincidentally, the dollar rose during that time period. Now the dollar is falling, and guess what? Gold is broken its downtrend line, right? Remember, you heard all the reports. I can't tell you how many phone calls I got. Oh, Joe, this guy says gold's going to 300 or 400 or 500, gets dead and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, calm down. They're homers. They don't know what they're talking about. Gunlatch. Gold has broken above its downtrend line. And we now see a massive base building in gold. And then he uses the word massive again. In other words, what he's saying is it's not going lower. If we see a break above the resistance line, one can expect to go up. Then he says go up by like $1,000. Where's that resistance line? Well, guess what, folks? We're staring at it right now. So according to Jeffrey Gunlech, gold in the resistance line, and we're about, I don't know, we're dollars away from it. And he says when gold breaks resistance, look for $1,000. Now, this is not, again, it's not some homer. I've never, ever heard him talk like that. I hear him tell people he better own some gold. He's always been that guy. And he varies. Hey, sometimes you own less, sometimes you own more, but, you always should have some. But then you start looking at why would he come out and say something like this? And the answer really is pretty simple. The next $500 in gold, there's not a lot of resistance. From 1900 to 1400 was about 8 days. And you got to remember there was 3 different days, just 3 days, where gold fell over $100 in a day. So he's looking at that chart and he knows, hey, there's big moves coming. And then, of course, you factor in momentum and you take out all-time highs. And so he has put a price target of about $2,400 to the ounce. And he's got a resistance line of $1,375. Right now, as I told you, gold's what, $1,360, right? We're about $15 away from the resistance line. I'll have Ramon have that up for you, but just remember this. Remember the other chart that he had. It's not just gold. It's the dollar. And we have a very, very good track record of where the dollar is headed. It's not going to do it in a straight line, of course. There'll be ups and downs, but we know the dollar rallies for 5 years. 6, one time it got to 7, but 5 to 7 years we rally. We never get back to where we were. And then we have a 9 to 10 year down cycle. We've had 3 up cycles, and we're just starting the 3rd down cycle. Matter of fact, that cycle clearly started last year, right? The dollar was down 10% last year. Based on his projections in the charts, we're going to be looking at a dollar somewhere near 60. In the low 70s, right, 72, 73, we got to 1900. So it's one of those things where let's put it all aside, right? Are we going to bomb Syria, this weekend? Probably. Does it really matter? Not really. Is the trade war with China going to have ups and downs and escalate and de-escalate and escalate and de-escalate? Sure. Yeah. Yep, it is. Right? Are crude oil prices going back to $80 a barrel? Are we going to have all-time record high gas prices? I don't know about all-time record high, but I do know this. Gas prices are going a lot higher from where they are today, at least for this summer. And if Saudi Arabia has its way, remember their announcement yesterday, right? Gas prices are never going to be below $2 ever again. My guess will be they're going to go north of $3 and probably never go below that. But again, doesn't matter. What really matters is we've dug ourselves a huge debt bubble, and we did it by hiding it and mispricing the bond market, and now the bond king says, get ready. Because the price of gold's getting ready to go.
This is the Phyllis Schlafly Report, a daily commentary continuing the conservative pro-family legacy of Phyllis Schlafly. And now, from the archives of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, here is Phyllis Schlafly.
Reading the news about other countries conducting their elections is usually a depressing experience. Most other countries have many political parties, which means that no party or candidate ever gets a majority, and the wrangling continues as they try to create a coalition government. Then the counting of ballots may go on for days and even weeks. Sometimes countries change their rulers by a military coup against whomever is in power. The United States has had a stable government for 2 centuries, and every change from one governing gang to another has been peaceful and accepted by the American people. The Founding Fathers created a unique system in the U.S. Constitution called the Electoral College. It is the mirror image of the great compromise that created Congress, recognizing both big population states and small states. The Electoral College respects the fact that we are both a nation of we the people and also a nation of individual states. All of a sudden, a new movement has emerged called National Popular Vote that is trying to change our method of electing a president. They are not doing it the proper way by proposing a constitutional amendment. They are trying to abolish the Electoral College by stealth. They go around the country to get state legislatures to pass a law that would order their state's presidential electors to ignore how the people of their own state voted and instead cast their Electoral College ballots for whoever they think won the most votes nationwide. This is offensive on many levels. First, because it is vote stealing on a massive scale. And second, because it dishonestly makes people believe they are voting for the candidate who got a majority of the popular vote, whereas there is no requirement that the candidate have a majority. He most usually will have only a plurality. Tell your state legislators to vote no on national popular vote. We like the U.S. Constitution the way it was written. It has served us well.
This has been the Phyllis Schlafly Report from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. In 2016, the conservative movement lost one of our strongest leaders, but Mrs. Schlafly's work and her voice continue through this radio program, our work in Washington, and the influence you have in your own community. Be part of that legacy at phyllisschlafly.com. We encourage you to bookmark phyllisschlafly.com and join us again for the Phyllis Schlafly Report.
800-951-0592. We got a couple of great items for you today. One is a Colorado only. We have I think it's 10 $10 Liberty gold pieces that are live in stock in Colorado. They're $700. Way cheaper. That would put two tens $20 less than a $20 gold piece. That's in Colorado at 800-951-0592. Those are live and in stock. You can call today, set an appointment, and go down and pick them right up at the Johnstown studios. For the rest of us and everyone else out there, U.S. Silver Eagles, we just keep rising. $3.95 a roll on U.S. Silver Eagles. Still takes 80 ounces of silver for an ounce of gold. So Really liking where we are headed on the silver price, $395 on rolls of U.S. Silver Eagles. And those are, there's some of you out there that were waiting for $5 gold pieces. They're on their way finally. There was a little snag there. I got a new fresh batch of U.S. $5 Liberties, $365 on U.S. $5 Libs. Those are the gold pieces, the older ones, 1866 to 1907, 800-951-0592. The Dow's down. The Dow's been down all day, but not too bad right now. It's down about 100 points. Dow's down 100 points. You know, we get it every day, right? Moves 100 points easily every day. The news that's driving today, obviously, what's going to happen in Syria. What are the Russians going to do or not going to do? And then today, the CPI data came out, and I got to tell you, it gets very, very frustrating when you read that CPI was down according to whoever the powers that be that collect this information with under the direction of the Federal Reserve. The CPI number, when you strip out food and energy, wasn't as bad as was expected, but it was still hot. I mean, we still had a year-over-year number of 2.7%. But here was the funny thing. They said last month energy prices were down. And I'm thinking to myself, and maybe Arizona was just different than everybody else. Gas prices have been rising here all year. But according to the data out today, energy prices were down, which helped. Otherwise, would have made the report worse. But remember, they strip out all the food and energy prices anyway. They don't care about that. So yesterday we had producer prices, which was much hotter than expected. But most of that had to do with, you're going to have to pay more for your health care costs. Today, it was the CPI, which is supposed to be you and I, up 2.7% year on year. The core number, I want to say, I don't remember if it was 0.2 or 0.3, but at least today on the idiot box, they're trying to say, they were expecting a number worse. So, anything to make sure you don't get a good cost of living adjustment, they're going to do it for all of you on fixed income. But that was the number that was out today. The CPI was hot, right, 2.7%. But apparently the new cheap cell phone plans came off, if you can believe that. Remember, they lowered the plans, but then made you buy the phone, which actually made it more expensive. But it's how they track data. And they said that the CPI came out today, year over year, up 2.7%. Was the total number. Adjusted, inflation adjusted wages up 0.4. The core gain in CPI, 2.4. My bad, 2.4. Core CPI minus food and energy was up 0.2. Consumer price index declined a 0.1. Right, and again, that was, they said, cheaper energy. I don't know where that came from. That was the headline number today, then followed by this information. U.S. Energy Administration, the EIA today, actually it was last night, released its short-term energy outlook, forecasting the average price for retail gasoline will reach $2.74 a gallon in April, and that the April through September drive period is going to rise another 33 cents a gallon. So that's going to, I guess, put it over $3. 14% higher than the average for last year's driving season. U.S. household to spend about $190 more on motor fuel a month than it did last year. And you think about that. And I told you right now, it cost me $6 more to fill up than it did in January. My son, he's got a car, $6. Right, so that's $12. And both of us fill up once a week. And we're fortunate. We don't drive nearly as much as a lot of people. Now, my wife, she got the big car. Right, and it's like 10 years old. Well, it cost her $12 more to fill up because you got double the capacity. It's $24 a week. Right, 4.2 is the month, right? Already costing me $100 more a month. Right, I didn't get the $1,000 bonus. And according to the EIA, it's going to get even more expensive. And so you kind of see, and of course, they don't allow it, right? We don't care. I mean, my guess will be, and they're saying, $190 more a month per household. Times that by 12, that's $2,280. No wonder why everybody's striking all over the place. No one's got any money. And now we got to come up with an extra $190 just to put gas in the car. Yeah, don't worry. Everything's going to be wonderful. 800-951-0592. U.S. $10 gold pieces live in Colorado at 700. $5 Liberty gold pieces for everybody, $365 at 800-951-0592. 800-951-0592. If you're just joining us, Jeffrey Gunlatch, he is Double Line Capital, one of the largest hedge funds in the world, the guy that they now refer to as the Bond King, came out with two big charts today. One is the chart of the dollar, and you really can see the pattern. 5-6 years higher, 10 years lower. 5-6 years higher, 10 years lower. 5-6 higher, 10 years lower. And all the highs are lower highs. All the lows are lower lows. And according to Gunlatch, we've now hit the point where the base is done, talking about gold, and he called the base massive. In fact, he called it massive twice. Says 1375. Circle it. Right? Well, why? This guy, here's the guy. Now, let me tell you how good the guy is. And I'll just give a very current one. Last year, he told everybody. Matter of fact, they brought him out, and he'll come out, and he was on CNBC, he was on Fox. I think I even played the clip. He said as soon as the 10-year Treasury crossed 263, the stock rally would be over. And what have we gotten since then? Right? We know the rally's over. Right? And what do we have? We got massive volatility now. Right? We got every day the Dow's moving over 100 points, and it started pretty much right when the 10-year note crossed that level. And I'm telling you right now, this guy, he's one of the best in the world. He doesn't make a lot of predictions. He doesn't come out and get all, he's not a homer. Definitely doesn't homer for gold. But he understands the markets, and particularly why I like him so much is he is the expert of what's really happening underneath the bond market. Yesterday we talked about how many days in the month of March where Japanese bonds no one even bought one. In other words, the central bank had to buy the entire day's supply because there was not a single bin. And I said maybe that's the reason, right? Something's broken when you get to this volatility that we see in the markets. And we saw it in the crash of '87. We saw it at the .com. We saw it at the financial crisis. The markets are getting ready to break. Right? And Gunlatch, he kind of put the number on it. Said at this level, bad things start happening in the bond market, of course. And then, a lot of people, no, he's wrong. No, it can go, we can go to 3%, right? You're 3.25%, right? Obviously, he was right. Look at what's happened since. Right, the Dow was almost 27,000. Now it's about 24,000, and it goes up and down 300, 400, 500 points every single week. And now he's starting to talk about how, hey, listen, this is what the charts are telling me. Charts are telling me we're in, at the second year of a 10-year dollar down cycle, and lo and behold, gold's right on the precipice of breaking through, and he put a number on it. Just like he did on the 10-year note, he's put a number on it. That number today was $13.75. So we're about $15 away from that number. Matter of fact, if you think about it, December gold, $13.82. October gold, $13.75. I mean, we're right? Some of the future gold contracts are already above that number. Right? Spot gold right now, $13.60. And I'll just remind all of you. And I know that you think you know it all and that everything, it's going to be different this time. You're right, it is going to be different. It's going to be a lot different. It's going to be much worse. I hate to say it. The dollar is going to break new all-time record lows, and you think about it, of course it is. We've got a new competitor, right? We got China out there. The deficits, it's $21 trillion and growing, and they're admitting to $1 trillion. Come on. You know what the real number's going to be, right? Social Security. You know what else you're hearing? What are you starting to hear on Social Security? Really, what are you hearing? We gotta look at cutting entitlements. You're hearing it. You know you're hearing it. I've heard it. I've heard it a bunch of times now. You know why? Because they know. Right? The math is simple. Social Security and Medicare are going to add $100 billion to the deficit every single year. Not to mention the fact that everything else, we're $1 trillion, $1.2 trillion, $1.5 trillion, $2 trillion on all the other stuff. Hopefully the bond market won't break down. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. $800-951-0592. The final segment here on a Wednesday. Colorado, we've got, I think we still have all 10 of the $10 liberties. These are live in Colorado. You can call, order them, make arrangements to pick them up at $700. For everybody else, U.S. $5 liberties at $365 a piece, and on the U.S. Silver Eagle rolls, $395, still puts that below $3 over spot. By the way, quick look at the markets here. Gold's up $18, $13.60. Silver's up 22 cents, $16.82. The dollar is down today, 89.46.
The stock market treading water, down about 100 points. It's been down about 106. Oh, well, make that 140 points. It moves quick here, down 140. No surprise there, right? Every day it's got to move triple digits, and Mark Zuckerberg is testifying in front of Congress, which, by the way, helped the Dow yesterday when he mentioned that Facebook may start charging you if you don't want to see ads, and that, of course, got Wall Street all excited. But nonetheless, the Dow right now down 140 points, obviously moving on news that an attack in Syria is imminent. Crude oil up another $1.23, 66.73. Technical level 66.66. If it closes above that, most traders say crude oil will go right to 70, and that's NYMEX crude. Brent crude already $73. And news today had to do things helping crude besides the falling dollar. News out of Saudi Arabia that multiple missiles were launched, one at a oil field out of Yemen and one in the capital. No word that they actually did any damage. But that is what's driving the market today, along with CPI, which, I guess if everyone wants to believe gas prices went down, then it was an okay report, but still year over year up 2.7. I wonder if they'll give you that in the COLA adjustment on Social Security. I wouldn't hold your breath. It's probably not gonna, they're not gonna do it. Jeffrey Gendlich out, Double Line Capital with a huge call today, talking about the inverse correlation between gold and the dollar, saying that once gold crosses 1375, look for it to add 1,000. I can't argue with him as he anticipates the dollar to set new all-time record lows. U.S. $5 Liberties, 365. Rolls of U.S. Silver Eagles, 395. And for those of you up in Colorado, take advantage of the $10 gold pieces that are there at $700 a piece, on the $10 gold pieces. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll talk again tomorrow.